If you are thinking about starting your own coaching business or are in the process of building your own coaching business in 2019, the good news is there has never been a better time. The industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry and growing. More and more people are becoming open and accepting to the idea of coaching to help them. And the resources and technology that we have available to us makes it easier than ever to connect with your clients. However, there is a downside. Because of all of those great things, more and more coaches are joining every market, and every market is becoming more and more competitive. So, to stand out, there are things that you need to be doing if you want to market yourself. That's why in this video, I'm specifically sharing my best tips on marketing for coaches. If you are working on your coaching business in 2019, these are 3 things that you absolutely need to be doing. Thing number 1, you need to be creating more content. The days of being able to just send out 1 email newsletter a week to your list or show up once or twice on social media every week are over. As people become more skeptical, as your market becomes more competitive, you need to create more content to stand out. In fact, I would go as far to say that content is the currency of your business. It's how you build a relationship with your audience. It's how you show them that you're legitimate and how you really show them that you are the right person for them. How much content you have the capacity to put out does depend on where you are in your business. So let me give you some guidelines. Keep in mind that these are just guidelines. If you are just starting out and working on getting your first few clients, I would recommend that you focus on just 1 to 2 social media channels and focus on putting out content every single day, at least once a day, at least on the weekdays. The reason for that is because when you're starting out, you have limited resources most likely and limited attention. And so you're only going to be able to focus on a few things without feeling overwhelmed. When you focus on just 1 or 2 social media platforms to really get out there and connect with your audience, it not only allows you to connect with them much faster, but it also allows you to be able to consistently show up every day and put out content without feeling overwhelmed. In the process, you're also going to get better at creating your own content and get faster because that is a skill in of itself. And that way, before you know it, within a few weeks or months, you're not only going to have gotten paying clients, but you're also going to realize how much better and faster you've become at creating content. After you've crossed about high 5 figures to 6 figures in your business, then it's time to be adding on the content that you create specifically for your audience. That might be in your own Facebook group, that might be on your Instagram, that might be to your email list. So for example, what that might look like is creating daily content, continuing that on your existing social media platforms that you're active on, and sending newsletters to your email list at least 2 to 3 times per week, if not 4 to 5. Past low multiple 6 figures, that's when you're focusing on content for the long term, because at this point you've got the revenue, you've most likely got a bigger team, you've got more resources to be putting out more content, not to mention that you yourself will have gotten better and faster at creating content. So that looks like more in-depth content to build a deeper relationship with your existing audience and to faster accelerate that relationship building with people who are new to you. That might look like more in-depth blog posts, that might look like more YouTube tutorials, or some other form of long-form content. So for example, maybe you are doing 1 YouTube video a week or 1 or 2 really in-depth blog posts that are maybe about 2,000 words every month. And that is layered on top of everything else that you are doing up to that point. So what you can see is you're creating more and more content depending on where you are, but you're starting with that foundation of, at the very least, showing up consistently, creating content every day, and staying top of mind. That's, to be honest, the best and in many ways the only way to be standing out, to be building a relationship with your audience, and to be driving sales in the most efficient, effective way possible in 2019. To give you an idea, at this point in my business, we do multiple 7 figures a year, and I do have a good amount of team and resources, so I do want you to keep that in mind. But we put out daily emails to my newsletter list. I do almost daily live streams on my Facebook page. We put out 1 YouTube tutorial a week. I have about 1 to 2 lengthy blog posts published every month. And I'm also consistently showing up every day and repurposing some form of content for my Instagram daily during the weekdays and my LinkedIn daily during the weekdays as well. Again, this is just to give you an idea of me walking this talk, not giving you some theory. And the reason for that is because, like I said, you don't know where your audience is going to find you, but they are looking. And it's your job to help them put out the information that they need to be able to find you. Not only that, but when they're deciding between you and who knows how many other coaches in your industry, your content, you showing up consistently and showing them more and more about how you are amazing and great at helping them is going to help them ultimately decide that you are the person for them. Thing number 2 that you need to be doing is using specifically video content. Every single platform right now is doubling down on the power of video, especially if you've ever tried posting a video post versus a text post, you will see how much more reach your video gets on LinkedIn because they are focusing on really doubling down on using video and driving people to create and connect through video content. It's the exact same thing with Facebook live streams where it's going to be a lot more cost effective. You're going to have a higher reach through creating great video content as well. Because again, all of these platforms are doubling down on video because that's how people are loving interacting right now. It's the same thing on Instagram through IGTV and Instagram stories. And of course, if you are, for example, on YouTube like this, you can only be doing video. The reason video is so powerful and why all the large social media platforms are doubling down on it is because, think about it. Think about the relationship that you can build with someone through watching them and listening to them versus just reading an email or a blog post, no matter how good it is. Not only that, but it's honestly nowadays when we're all so distracted and have such short attention spans, so easy for you to put on a video, listen to it in the background while you're doing something else versus having to read something and give it all of your attention. So for all of these reasons, you should be creating content and not only creating content, but specifically creating consistent video content. So think about which platform you are focused on and how you can leverage video on that platform to drive higher engagement and to honestly take advantage of that platform's priorities right now so that you get more engagement and more reach through your video content. One last note about video before we move on to thing number 3, and that is that it does not need to be pricey, studio done, or perfect. All of my live streams, in fact, on my Facebook page are done with just either an iPhone or my laptop. And there's a specific reason for that. It's because nowadays people want real, they want raw, they want intimacy versus seeing you in a perfect setting and being perfectly polished. It's the reason why to this day, all of our videos that are done in a more natural setting where I'm kind of just speaking off the cuff and speaking whatever comes to mind from my heart do way better than the perfectly polished videos that we might have spent thousands of dollars on with a studio and a video team. So if you're thinking, oh, my video is not going to be perfect, or maybe I'm going to come up and look stupid or not professional, no. Intimacy is powerful. Being real, being yourself, just hopping on, even using your iPhone and doing a live stream is going to be incredibly powerful, especially as long as your content is good, because that's really what people are wanting. So if you've been kind of thinking about doing video but letting that put you off, do not let that put you off any longer. That's actually something that's going to work in your favor because people are going to see that, hey, this is a real person. They're not just some beautiful photos or this fancy brand or this expensive equipment. It's just this person talking to me and really sharing their knowledge, which they are really good and knowledgeable about. All right, moving on to the final thing number 3, which is if you're sharing the content, you are sharing a lot of videos, what you need to be specifically talking about in your content. Share value, of course, but you also need to be talking about how and why you are different from your competitors. The reason for that is because, as I mentioned earlier, the coaching industry, no matter which specific industry you're in, is getting more and more competitive because of all of the opportunities. That's not a bad thing. That tells you this is a booming market. But what it does mean for you as a coach and as a marketer is that you need to specifically call out, hey, here's why I am different. And not only that, here's how that means what I do is better for you. Not just, hey, I'm different and it's better because it's different. You need to be talking about, okay, I'm different and in a way that's better for you to help you get faster, better results. That's thing number one. You also, when you're talking about how you're different, have to be speaking to, it's very likely that your ideal client has tried a lot of methods already. So you need to be telling them, because I'm different in this way, even if you've tried these other things and they haven't worked for you, here's why this time is going to be different. So for example, if you are a health coach, and I'm just making this up, let's say you help your clients lose weight through the power of mindset and reprogramming their thoughts. You can tell them, hey, if you've tried to lose weight by eating a certain type of food or restricting your diet or working out a ton and it hasn't worked, it's because you haven't addressed the foundational problem, which is the way you're thinking about your body, your health, and your foods. That's why what I'm going to be working with you on, reprogram your mind for the way you eat, is going to be incredibly effective. And that's why none of the other things you've tried have worked, because it hasn't addressed this foundational piece. And that's why even if you've tried those other things and it hasn't worked, what I'm going to be talking to you about is going to finally work for you. Obviously, this is just an example. What you're saying has to be true, but you do need to be able to identify that for yourself and speak it to your audience so that if they've tried other things, they're becoming more skeptical, more jaded, and wondering, is this really even possible for me? They can hear what you have to say or read what you have to say and understand and believe, wow, now I get it. Maybe this is the person for me. There's one other piece you have to address when you're talking about how you're different from your competitors, and that is how your system is better for that person. So for example, let's stick with health coaching since we're on the topic. If I'm a health coach specifically for busy women who have a family and a successful career, I'm going to be talking about how my program and everything that we do in it is tailored to them not having a lot of time, them not being able to go to the gym every day, and not being able to necessarily have 3 hours a day to prepare the perfect meal for themselves. And in that way, I'm going to share, hey, maybe my other competitors assume that you have all this time and energy when I know you don't. And so my program is tailored specifically to you. This, in addition to you telling them how your methodology is better, why it's better for them specifically, and how it's going to work even if they've tried other things that haven't worked, is going to help them believe even more that what you're offering is special and specific to them, which is going to create even more belief that you are the right person for them. So when you're talking about how and why you're different, you can't just say, hey, I'm going to help you lose weight, right? You've got to specifically answer these questions, especially because your industry is becoming more competitive, more crowded, and more people are saying the same thing. This is how you're going to stand out and differentiate yourself from everyone else, by telling your audience specifically, I'm not just expecting you to believe me because I said I'm different and better. Here's specifically how I'm better for you and why that is the case. That is what's going to show your audience, while especially you are consistently creating more and more content and videos to really confirm that belief and back up everything that you're saying, that, hey, this is the person for me. And I don't care how many other coaches there are out there, you basically are the person for them. So those are the 3 things that you need to be doing in 2019. Hopefully you've found this helpful. And if you have, I've got another video for you that I think you're going to love. It's called Coaching Business Mastery: 4 Secrets of the Trade. And in that video, I share 4 secrets that I've realized over the past few years of building my own business and having helped thousands of clients do the same. It shares 4 secrets that really, I haven't really heard anyone else talking about, but which are incredibly important ultimately to your success. So if that's something that sounds like it would be helpful to you, make sure you check it out. The link is in the description below. And if you want to know the step-by-step system that I used and that thousands of my students have used to build their own 6-figure online coaching businesses from scratch, 6-figure and more, starting from idea clarity to getting your first paying clients to setting up a system that allows you to make consistently $5,000, $10,000 or more every single month, make sure you check out my free masterclass where I share the exact system that I used to build my first online coaching business while I was still on my job and build it to over $106,000 in sales in 4 months before I even turned in my notice. So if that sounds like that would be helpful to you, make sure you sign up for the training, which is in the link description below. If you found this video helpful, please let me know by liking it below and let me know in the comments what your biggest takeaway was. I would love to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe to be notified when I release a new video like this every single week. Share this with your entrepreneurial friends, and I will see you next time.